Hello all, welcome back to Editorial Analysis and Answer Writing Practice at 9 p.m. Friends, if you are watching this video series for the first time, then please watch my intro video given in the playlist to know how to participate in this answer writing program. It is open to all. Recently, National Institute for Public Finance and Policy in its study has revealed that the fiscal constraints faced by the government is increasing year after year. The main reason for this increased fiscal constraints is subsidies. In this backdrop, several newspapers were carrying editorial analysis on this topic, subsidies, which we will also discuss from our UPSC exam point of view. So what is subsidy? Subsidy is a financial aid or financial support given by the government to keep the price of a commodity cheaper. Now, why subsidy should be given? Subsidy is used as a tool to minimize the inequality prevailing in India. By providing subsidies for the vulnerable section, by providing subsidies for the marginalized section, government helps them to meet their basic amenities without any trouble. So if I am the one who is vulnerable, who is poor, when the basic needs like food, my basic needs like education, my basic needs like health, if it is given to me at a subsidized price, then with my hard-earned money, I can focus on improving my quality of life, standard of life, right? So if there's no subsidies, then I have to use all my money to meet my basic amenities only. So this way, government is trying to minimize the inequality in society, and government is trying to ensure social justice as well. See, government is giving subsidies under various headings. For example, for agriculture, government gives subsidy in the form of free electricity, in the form of subsidized fertilizer. Government, almost for 83 crore people in India, government gives subsidized food grains, heavily subsidized food grains through the public distribution system under the National Food Security Act 2013. There is fuel subsidy, energy subsidy. The total subsidy cost in India will come around 4 lakh crores, in which almost 2 lakh crores is given for food subsidy alone. Right? So we discussed what is subsidy, what is the need for subsidy, and where the subsidy is being given. Now we will discuss the issues surrounding subsidies. What is the main issue? The main issue is the fiscal constraint faced by the government. Today, the fiscal deficit and the revenue deficit faced by the government is very high. We have more than 16.5 lakh crore worth of fiscal deficit and more than 6 lakh crore worth revenue deficit. Put it simply, today government is borrowing money to pay salary. Government is borrowing money to pay interest payments. That is the level of fiscal constraints prevailing in today's India. Another problem is the misuse of the subsidies. Subsidies are given, it is given to some targeted people, but that subsidies are being misused. The subsidized products received is being sold in the black market, which goes against the purpose. Another problem is overuse of subsidy. For example, fertilizer is given at a very subsidized price. Since it is available at a very subsidized price, if I am going to use as a farmer, if I use excess fertilizer because it is cheaper, so I use excess fertilizer, what will happen? That will result in degradation of my soil fertility. So excess use of subsidy is going to have other unintended consequences, right? So fiscal constraints, misuse, overuse. In a country like India, as I have highlighted, there is a huge fiscal constraints. We have to definitely meet the needs of the vulnerable section, no doubt. At the same time, we have to focus on improving the infrastructure in India as well. As per the National Infrastructure Pipeline estimate, India needs close to 111 lakh crores worth of money for meeting the basic infrastructure in the country. We need 111 lakh crores, but in reality, we are having a fiscal deficit of more than 16 lakh crores today only, right? Current 24-25 budget estimate says we have that much fiscal deficit. But the overall money required for meeting the infrastructure comes around 111 lakh crores. So in this constrained situation, when almost 4 lakh crores goes for subsidies, the amount available for improving the infrastructure of the country is being challenged. Apart from that, because of all these subsidies, the market is getting distorted. Because at one side, if government by giving subsidies, when the products are available at a very cheaper price, the private player, they are not able to fight with this subsidized product. This results in market distortion. And of course, Developed countries, the West, they are not happy with we giving this much subsidies. So in WTO, we are also facing international issues, right? So all these are bigger challenges because of subsidies. Apart from that, the main intention of the subsidy is to help the marginalized, to help the vulnerable. But in reality, targeting them precisely becomes challenging. So the problem is the subsidies are being largely enjoyed by the middle class or the middle income group, right? So now what to do? What is the solution? Can we do away with the subsidy? Definitely no. Subsidy is very important. So what shall we do? Number one, we have to rationalize the subsidy. For example, under National Food Security Act, almost 83 crore people in the country will be given rice for 3 rupees per kg, wheat for 2 rupees per kg, and coarse grains for 1 rupee per kg. However, because of the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, now in the coming 5 years, the food grains will be given at free of cost. The question is why this much big segment of the people has to be given free of cost of food grains? We can reduce, see, it's not that we should do away with subsidy, but we can reduce the target beneficiaries. That is what is meant by rationalizing subsidies. We can slightly increase the price of, see, these subsidies, rice for 3 rupees, wheat for 2 rupees was fixed during 2013. If we are going to continue this even after 10 years, then the government is going to face huge subsidy burden. So we have to minimize the target beneficiaries. We have to rationalize the subsidies. We can go for direct benefit transfer. Instead of giving subsidies, we can send the money to the direct account of the beneficiaries. Through this way, we are able to prevent a lot of corruption and leakages. Through direct benefit transfer, the government is able to save close to 2.2 lakh crores because of DBT alone. So we can go for direct benefit transfer. See, we have to come up with some performance linked subsidy. Instead of providing a blanket subsidy, we can give subsidy based on performance. Let government fix a target. If the target is met, we can give subsidy. Right? So, performance linked subsidy can be introduced. Right? Similarly, sustainable practices linked subsidy. For example, now government can tell the farmers. So farmers, if they adopt drip irrigation, sprinkler irrigation, if they adopt solar-based pump sets, solar-based equipments, then maybe in that situation we can announce subsidies. So performance-linked subsidy can be introduced. Sustainable practices linked subsidies can be introduced. Direct benefit transfer can be further strengthened. We have to find out measures to effectively target and find out the real beneficiaries. And instead of subsidies, government can think about basic income. So we have universal basic income. Like a minimum income will be given to the people, maybe the beneficiaries, or the very definition of universal basic income is it will cover everyone. But maybe we can consider targeted basic income. For the beneficiaries, some income can be given. The beneficiaries can use that income for buying the products which they are looking for. So instead of giving subsidized products, give money to beneficiaries, let the beneficiaries buy according to their needs. So this way the market distortion can also be avoided. Right? So such measures is the need of the hour. Doing away with subsidies is not a solution at all. Given the income inequality, given the wealth inequality, given the gross social injustice, given the high population, given the higher vulnerable section, doing away with subsidies cannot be a solution. It can never be a solution. But however, we have to move towards rationalizing subsidies. Yes, government is having a huge debt burden. Both the states as well as center, their outstanding liabilities is so high. The interest payments made for the outstanding liabilities, that interest payments alone is around 20% of total expenditure. That means every year for the previous debt, government's debt, the current government has to pay interest, right? That interest payment alone is almost 20% of total expenditure. That is our financial situation. We are borrowing today to pay salaries. That is the current situation. So fiscal constraint is real. We have huge infrastructural needs to be met in coming days. See, government is having an ambitious target of achieving Viksit Bharat, developed nation status by 2047, for which we have to strengthen our infrastructure. The resource is less. So the need of the hour is rationalizing subsidies. But how we are going to do that? What is your opinion? If you have any suggestions, you can give it in the comment section. Now, based on our discussion, I will give you a question. Examine how subsidies can serve as a mechanism for promoting sustainable development in India. This will be a 10-marker question, so you plan your answer for 150 words. Right, friends, I hope the discussion was useful. I will see you on Saturday with the discussion video for this week. Till then, bye, take care.